Hello and welcome to the shop. I'm Jared and this is the Questionable Garage, and this is our 1971 Plymouth Duster we call Try Hard. It is the chassis that I got kinda sorta rolling from my friend Taylor Hull, and then built it to be the very first person to ever compete in 1 year at Grand Champion at the Holley LS Fest, Mo Party, and Ford Fest with one car. That meant in a period of 3 weeks, we had 3 different engines in it. Now, I know it is not the most beautiful looking on the outside, but it's what's inside that counts. I love driving this car. It is incredibly fast. You don't necessarily see it on the outside, but we've got the level 3 QA1 suspension front and rear, an insane GearFX Ford 9-inch, a 6.1 liter Hemi, Gen 3 Hemi that we found out was actually a stroker from our friends at J&J Auto Wrecking, and the American Powertrain and Tremec TKX 5-speed manual transmission. It has got all the good stuff to go fast. But what we are seriously lacking for road tripping is a little bit of creature comfort. Now, I don't want to take the whole edge off the car, no full whole interior, nothing. But right now in winter, our weather has been 60 degrees or 10 degrees pretty much. It's been all over the place, and a little bit of heat would be nice. You can go the route of all factory parts, a little bit hard to get, can be very expensive. You can do huge, crazy top-level conversions to put heat into the car, but there's also a way for you to add heat to your car for less than $100. And it's adjustable. It's kind of a cool thing. So today, I'm gonna show you guys how you can get heat in your vintage car or a modern car for less than $100. And we're gonna do a couple other little things to get Try Hard ready for a road trip. I hear they're thirsty in Atlanta, and there's beer in Texarkana. That's right, today's sponsor is Factor, and I am so excited to continue working with them. I really do just try to bring you the sponsors that I really enjoy, and I really enjoy Factor. Now, it's no secret, everything has gotten a lot more expensive, and fast food continues to be the most, on paper, convenient way to get your lunch during the day, but it's not cheap anymore. Remember when it was $4 for like a basic burger combo? You're now paying sit-down meal prices, and you're definitely not getting sit-down meal quality. Whether you're trying to keep an eye on calories, you want more protein, you need to be keto friendly, Factor has tons of meal options suited for you. The meals are never frozen, chef crafted, and dietitian approved. You're not getting that in a brown paper bag. And as you can tell by the cold pressed juices on the table, you have extra options when you're selecting your meal. You got the juices, you've got shakes, you've got desserts. Also, don't forget, if you're feeling a little bougie for the week, you got Gourmet Plus options. There are tons of ways to customize your Factor plan to make sure it fits into your daily life. Speaking of customizable, you can select as few as 4 meals or up to 18 for your week. It won't take long to realize the switch to Factor will save you money, especially if you have been using any of those meal delivery services. You're not getting things delivered wrong. You're not dealing with the driver asking for extra tips, even though you've already given them 30% tip on top of what you've already tipped. The only person complaining about tips when you're microwaving a Factor is you and Chef Mike. That Chef Mike isn't Chef Microwave if you didn't get it. Jokes are funniest when you explain them. Seriously guys, if you have not tried Factor yet, you are missing out. I have not had a friend who's tried it who's been disappointed. You're gonna save some money with Factor if you add it into your fridge and daily routine, plus you're saving time. You don't have to drive anywhere. It's go to your fridge, throw it in the microwave, and have a really good meal with minimal cleanup. You just throw it in the trash when you're done. Now, if you're ready to jump on the hype train that is Factor and enjoy some incredible meals in your life, head on over to factor75.com/50questionable. You're gonna save 50% off your first Factor box shipped to your door, and free shipping included. Factor75.com/50questionable, and save a bunch, enjoy really good food. All right, so sitting right in front of me is a generic heater core setup. We got this one off of the good old Jungle website. Most of the parts houses have a couple different versions. Now this particular one, you can get as cheap as $50, and then some sellers are selling them for about $120. It depends on what extra parts and pieces you get. This one was about $90. It includes 4 hoses. They are extendable and flexible. Make a fun noise. They're a little flimsy, but they will work. There are some that also come with vents. I don't have those. We have zip ties and hoses to point at us. It comes with brackets to mount the unit, a couple different size T's and connections so that way you can get coolant, because this is not an electric heater, it is a coolant heater. And something I wasn't expecting, was surprised to see, a variable switch so that way you can adjust the fan speed. It's not just low, medium, high, or on or off. You have a variable resistance so you can adjust your speed. Now, I have all of the vents slightly open. You can keep some of these blocked off if you only want to run 2. We're gonna aim 2 hoses at the windshield and 2 at the passengers to keep them warm. And you've got your ports for your coolant. Now, if you're not familiar with how a heater would work or a heater core would work, it's basically adding a second radiator inside the car, and then it has fans that is going to move the air from inside the car, move it over the heater core or a secondary radiator, and then push it out against you to condition the air, warm it up, so that way it can be a little bit more comfortable. That is also why sometimes if you have a car that's overheating, you will turn your heater on even when it's uncomfortably hot, because it's an extra way to try to remove some heat from your cooling system to help an engine run cool. I've heard people call that a wives' tale. I can tell you I have had a car overheating and run a heater and had a car not overheat anymore. But I was very uncomfortable. It gets really hot sometimes when it's, 110 degrees and you're in traffic with heat on full blast. But you gotta protect your engine so you can actually get where you're going. Now, these units are mostly adapted from, the crossover utility vehicles, the ATVs and the Polaris things. That is where these were really finding their initial legging, but we can use them just as well in a car. It's a decent size, it moves a reasonable amount of air, so it's gonna work for us. Now, there are a little bit nicer units, more polished units with more features. Those start about $200. Summit Jegs, each of them have some white label brands. You have Vintage Air. So depending on your budget, there are tons of different universal styles. Little boxes, complete underdash units that are designed to tuck in just like a factory style. And most all of them set you up with modern stepper motors and some control like that when you get into the nicer features. This just has the metal flap open or closed that are designed to break off to direct your air wherever you want it. So we are gonna go ahead and get started getting this installed, as well as do a couple other things to get the car ready for a road trip, like removing identifying stickers that cover the entire passenger side glass. I might just go ahead and do that first and get it over with, because that's going to be hard to do. There's only one car that's ever had all those stickers on it. All right, well, we got the first one, and we all truncated it. Maybe it should have been like a Fig Newton sticker. My good buddy Scott had that made for me. But it impedes vision and is not practical on a daily. So I'm actually not going to remove it. We got a whole new windshield. I'm going to replace the windshield so I don't have to lose these stickers. Yes, they won't be on the car, but they're still going to be on the windshield from the event. The buddies, my friends over at Auto Metal Direct were awesome, and they are getting me another windshield. So all I need to do is, this is all brand new rubber, so I'm hoping the install and all that stuff will pop right out and we can reuse it. But they're pulling me a whole new glass, so we don't have to remove TryHard's legacy here. One thing I am a little curious on, again, is will all the rubber come in and out just fine? I'm trying to remember if it was a double lockdown at the bottom. It was. Also, we're doing this first just because it's gonna let me be a little less on my back. Like I can reach right through while we're working on getting our heater core installed. Also, I gotta get wiper blades working. Turn signals, I actually need to wire them up to the switch. It's there, should work. Given how truncated the time was building the car, I didn't have time to, confirm and make everything work 100%. I just made sure we had brake lights. And you may ask yourself, what do brake lights have to do with turn signals? Well, on a lot of these older cars, and honestly in a lot of modern cars too, Your brake light also flashes as a turn signal, so you have to interrupt it. So the way it works is through your turn signal stalk. When you click the button, it sends the brake signal up. One side gets it uninterrupted. The other side, it goes through the turn signal flasher. So obviously you don't have any problems on the front side because you don't have those turning on for anything but turn signals. But I do want to get them working. Aside from one wiper arm and good blades, I have pretty much what I need for the wiper motor. I just got to get it wired up and working. We have a little gauge. I need to get a fuel gauge too. That would be very useful information, I would think. So, okay. Also really trying to get in time is some window channel felt. For really no reason other than the rattle it makes is so annoying. Also, anytime working with glass, are you guys the same? This stuff is surprisingly strong and robust, but I'm always so afraid I'm gonna break it. And like, I'll call the glass guy out and he just is like darn near hitting it with a hammer, and I'm like, how are you so comfortable doing that? Oh yeah, I need to, probably should get a new headlight switch. I think the first week my brand new one died. We had to switch over to just installing and removing a fuse to have headlights. So I was able to have them. It just was a pain to make them work. You know, reasons why project cars are never truly done, right? You get new parts don't work right. You drive them, realize you need to improve a couple things, change a couple things. I get it, you pro guys, you would have already been done, installed, and halfway to your next job. But I'm not pro, and I'm afraid to break in it. And the only reason this is even possible is guys at Automotive Director, awesome. Realize how cool and dumb of an idea this whole project was, and supported it with parts and continuing to support it with another piece of glass. All right. Sadly, I can't just put new doors on. Although these have been wanting to come off for a while on their own, I think. I have no clue what leaving them on for so long has done to everything underneath. Actually, just gonna take some heat. This one did not come off as well. Well, now the goog on it and all that other goodness. You know, some things you think aren't gonna really be a big deal, and then ignoring the 82, not having the door stickers, or just trying to make it more low key. That was a little bit harder than I thought it would be, but I'm gonna figure out a way to kind of press those, and I'm gonna keep those numbers. And again, I don't know if everyone really quite understands the scale that this was. If I was smart, I would have built the satellite to do it in, because that's like the car I wanted done at the end of the day. But this was given to me by a friend. Its end life was gonna be scrapped. He was gonna jump it for a YouTube series to kind of match. And we did something epic with it that can never be done again. Someone can do what we did, but they won't be first. Our little Duster here, we did something pretty amazing. But anyway, I need to run and pick up some flat iron. I am out of the metal I want to do. I'm gonna build a little crossbar so we can hang that heater box up. And I gotta pick up a couple other parts. Again, it's tons of little things. You guys doing these projects, I'm gonna show you a couple extra little things that might make the car almost comfortable enough that the wife will be happy to ride with. Also, I need to figure out why the passenger door doesn't open. Or I could just keep it broken and always be a gentleman. But I think she feels better with her own potential escape route out of this old girl. So then you just kind of grab your heater box, see where it's gonna make sense. Lay it flat, hoses up. You got air inlets on the side, so you want those not obstructed, but beyond that, thinking about running your hoses out should be a little bit of part of it. But, you know, it's all up to you. And while not super duper ideal, I kind of feel like to the cowl will work. It's just if we go up to the cowl with it, the inside section of that, we do need to seal it off. Because water does go into there. So, oh, actually I was wrong. These appear not to be break-off tabs, but actually adjustable vents. Handy. Again, we could even just bring it as much as there if we wanted. It'll make the hoses going up towards the windshield a little weird, but I don't hate that style of mounting. So we might go semi-centered. Then it's just all a matter of what's already existing that you can mount to and what you need to add to it. Because what if I aim for firewall mounting? Actually, that doesn't work. Well, if we go firewall, the heater hoses don't really work well anymore. There we go. We'll just put it on the floor. So I'm gonna just play around with that, trying to come up with a good spot. When you're looking for one of your spots, just think about it. Do I need to get in there regularly to do any type of maintenance or work? You know, is it gonna interfere with anything like that? Or is it gonna be good to go? And also, so if I remember, here and here will be where I just run that hose in case I can find some actual original defroster vents that will drop in there. But we'll at least have the hose aimed at the window. I don't know. It's just all a matter of playing around with it. So I'm gonna do that, and then I will pick you up in a second and show you what we came up with. Go fast. Remember that guy who talked about nothing's more permanent than temporary wiring that works? That was bothering me. We had our fuse box up there, so we're going through and trying to fix it. First, our little universal headlight switch, well, that blew up at LS Fest. That lasted no time at all. So I've got a little bit better automotive one. We're making sure all those things are working and doing what they're supposed to. What I am confused, so I've got my battery disconnected, but my lights are still working. So I need to look into that. I need to get turn signals working because we never did that. Need to clean a lot of that up. And I figured, I'm stuck. There we go. I figured because we're going on a road trip, a gas gauge might be useful. When we have the wire run front to back, I just have to connect it to the tank and install a gas gauge. So I was supposed to, be mounting that, but I'm sure you guys have had automotive ADD too. You're supposed to do something, get slightly distracted from it, and now you're down a really deep rabbit hole. Isn't it fun? But I'm gonna work through this spaghetti. One downside is a lot of the really nice printed bits are now gone from the sun, just enough sun coming through. So I have to kind of re-identify everything, remember what myself and Jacob from Sally's Speed Shop did while we were both incredibly exhausted, and make it all work again. Whee! Guess who has turn signals? Hazards work, but that one's not turning on. It may just be a bulb. The parking light works good. But the trick with these old cars is their shared brake lights and turn signals. So that's where they get tricky. And look, I don't have to worry about sitting to turn somewhere and getting rear-ended. My lights work. And it's getting a whole lot cleaner under the dash. I say that, let me show you. Look, it's cleaner. The wiring is clean. It will be. We're getting things tidied up quite a bit. You can just hear that little thing going to town. Dink, dink. But we can turn the blinker off and hazards. They work. Hot dog. Progress. I'm gonna put a gas gauge in it and I'm gonna be spoiled. Turn signals, gas gauge, heat, a phone charging port. What is this, a nice car? All right. I've done a ton of wiring off camera, can you tell? We have our heater box mounted. I haven't put the center vents on. I'm not quite sure yet. We got a lot of switches and doohickeys, and the fuse box is no longer right there. It's a little sad, but you know, we have to improve and clean, and that's where we're at. I still got to stretch forward a little bit for things, which is a bummer. Eventually, maybe I'll get a smaller steering wheel, which will let me actually drive a little further forward in the car, which would be more comfortable. That's not hooked to the tank yet, but everything else is there. So let's go over all of the madness. Of course, we got our headlights, but power bank, 12-volt charger, USB chargers, voltage gauge. That's just a simple one, $12 off Amazon. We got the people mover button. Absolutely necessary. And if we come over here and we'll key her on, hey, that dropped down, indicating it's not hooked up, but look at that. Simple things. I hate like going down the road and having my turn signal on and not knowing it. It's funny, the hazards come on and they take them a second to stabilize, but that's all working. Also, we're not gonna accidentally blind anyone. Now, if these really, oh, hell yeah, dimmer. Does that dim up and down or? Okay, maybe that came with an LED. It's basically on or off. That's backlit. All of these little LEDs, I got them off Amazon. I will remember a link for that and that little power bank for you guys down below. You get, there's also check engine light, oil, charge, tons of them, and it was like $15. So you're able to set up your own dash and do what you need to there. So all that's going, wiper. Now, I did not wire the park switch. Apparently the Mopar 2-speed switch was something like $200. So that way it would auto park. And I'm kind of like, you know, I'll take my chances and we'll just turn it off when it's down. Because now it's just up for high, or up for low, down for high. I just need to get wiper arms now, turn that off. And then everything we've been working towards. So that way, you know, the missus might like the car a little bit more. Oh, wow. That moves a decent bit of air. And I also have, you know, defroster going. Okay, maybe that'll do better than I thought. The big thing is, does it get high? And is it going to leak? Hopefully neither of those things happen. But the next thing on the agenda, if you can tell in here, it's a little bit loud and boomy, and that's because we've got those exhaust turn downs. Before Ford Fest, we didn't have time to get the exhaust out the back because of the 4-link change. So now we're gonna make it so the exhaust goes out the back because I like this car a lot. The wife doesn't mind it. The addition of heat is gonna help a lot, but that boom, it's excessive. It's fun for a little drive here and there, but it gets a little old. Well, let's take a quick look. First off, those sparks you saw me kind of spraying everywhere. I noticed on our upper links for those QA1 bars, the red blur up there, they were just gently touching that bracket, so we knocked them back a little bit. This is also what regret looks like. I should have painted that when it was brand new. In my head, I wanted that kind of rough look to hide the fact of just how expensive and nice that rear end is, and you know, I should have painted it, but we can't go back. I mean, I could take it all apart, scuff it, and paint it now, but we know we're not gonna do that. But what I am trying to figure out, exhaust. It is gonna be a thing, and I may have to actually go to a professional with a bender, and we may have to go to 2.5 inch over the axle. Basically, it really wants to live where that coil over. We can tweak and adjust the muffler a little on this side and get it pretty close to lined up, you know, to shoot straight out the back. But then we run into this arm. So my other thought, and I don't know, what if we make an S and actually come under and then kick it back up? I've not seen exhausts go under the axle, but this is as low as it's gonna get. And if we kind of line up to the front, like, it's not gonna be lower than the engine. So I don't know, I'm gonna look at the pipes I've got. I might end up giving a call to Kent's in the morning, see if he's still taking on questionable projects and can maybe fit me in. But I'm really wondering if under and up might be the winning ticket. And then I did the other thing where you jump online and see what everyone else, A-body, 4 links, and what they do with their exhaust. They do turn downs. It's quick, easy, cheap, but I want to try to quieten it up just a little bit. The rattles, lack of heat, you know, those are complaints. You don't want to ask too many compromises out of the significant other. You want them to enjoy riding in your death traps a little bit by, you know, masking just how death trap it is. So I'm gonna stare and see what we can come up with. On a plus side, the rest of the car, getting it ready for a road trip as well. Everything's tight, looks good. Just need to put a wrench on things for peace of mind, but almost there. We got some pipes. I've got dirty hands, a little bit of a burn there, but we now have rear exit exhaust, and I'm pretty happy with it. I wouldn't have minded if I could have got it a smidge higher, but with the pipes I had, that's what we got. I also realize now that I have that a little straighter than that one. Good thing I checked before fully welding it in, which I didn't do at all. So normally you would go over the axle. There was just no way of getting it through there. Like, that's my one hole. We're at full droop. The moment that goes up, all of that room is gone. So I basically have her tucked as tight as I can. This may be a problem. I could not get this to go over anymore. We're as close as I dare to this fuel tank. So we're gonna have to see. I may have to pull that pipe back off and dent it to clear. I'm ready to lower the sound and see what it sounds like, and hopefully it's just a little quieter, because again, jumping straight down is loud. So let's get this set down. Hopefully I can get my glass in it. You saw earlier in the time lapse, I was fighting with it and having no luck at all. Yeah, I called professionals. I thought I could put it back in, and I was wrong. So we'll have new glass soon. We're about ready to go for a drive. to get some 3-inch tips. That slide angle difference. Ah! I'm through. Sounds good. All right, one of the last things I think we'll knock out is back here. Screwdriver is fun, but when it's dark and you have a handful of shopping, you can't always line it up. So, thankfully, you can still get Mopar key sets. The TL100 also comes with a bunch of different rods, depending on what you are putting it into. That might be just right. So, one thing to remember too, if you're starting your car off and you had no lock, these go in a certain way, even though you can put them in a couple different ways. Open up for me. They're a little tricky because you gotta, make sure this lines up. It's not quite as rigid as the screwdriver, but, come on, give me the key out. Does this just live with a key in it all the time? Come on. Well, there we go. Maybe need a little graphite. Notice the bitting on the key, how it's going in upside down. If you want to make the entire, you're going to just hear one really loud, just collective scream if we installed it this way and put the bitting down. The reason I say that, for whatever reason, Mopar likes their keys to go in upside down, and it has got to be one of the biggest pet peeves of Mopar people for you to install them upside down. By meaning, right side up compared to most everyone else. I am really hoping this gets a little better. It's all brand new, so I guess there is a little wiggling in. Also in your parts kit, you get a gasket and the retaining clip. Tell you what, my finger really hurts. I was cleaning up the windshield gasket and my hand slipped again. Punched a corner of the car. Got a really nice nasty cut right on the tip of the finger. Feels not good. Gasket in place. Bitting to the top. Fish this through. Boom! And then you slide in your lock from the side using the screwdriver that you've been opening your trunk with. There we go. Let's test it. Come on, guys. Get your quality control under control. Just slide it in and out a bunch, and it'll start working smoother, hopefully. Definitely don't close your trunk until you know it's working good. There we go. There we go. They used to do this kind of stuff, on the assembly lines. Break them in, wear them in a little. Not no more. Okay. Now it's working. We'll squirt a little lube in there. Now, no more screwdriver sticking out the butt. All right. Let's see. Remember how I said make sure it works before you close it? What the heck? Woohoo! Simple. Well, I think we're gonna finish up with that trunk latch, the key. I was hoping we'd have the glass in it. The glass guys haven't made it. Well, it turns out they did make it before I finished uploading everything for Dwayne to edit, and I didn't want to reshoot the outro. So they got that windshield in. It looks amazing, and it turns out when you're a professional, you do it a whole lot better than me. If you're trying to get your own glass in, the butyl rope, wrong choice. Really good for fixing rattles and things like that, but you need to use the liquid. If you can't find
the liquid butyl anymore because apparently it's becoming illegal and they don't make it as much. There's a mastiff's a dog, mastil, that is very similar to it and works for this type. And have a friend. Both of those things make all the difference. They were able to pop that window in and it looks great. Now I just need those arms and those gaskets to get out of that shipping circle. All right, back to me from an hour and a half ago, shooting an outro. And I had a couple more parts coming, mainly window gaskets to keep the windows from rattling a ton, and wiper arms. I broke down and we're getting the ridiculously overpriced Mopar arms. Chevy variants are like $20, Mopar's $140. But I need wiper arms to be good and safe on the road. But not including those absurdly expensive parts, $100, we have a heater, less than $100 in other small miscellaneous parts, and we have a finished car that I think my wife would ride in it and she wouldn't complain, but I knew I could make it a little bit better, and you guys can make your hoopty projects just a little bit nicer for your spouse to cruise in. They put up with a lot. Give them heat. Less than $100. You can have heat in your classic car, and it works pretty stinking good. And then, simple things like turn signals so you don't get rear-ended when you're stopping somewhere, reverse lights, all the little things that make it more modern. Also, the fuel gauge. Probably the most important, because you don't mind being stuck on the side of the road and having to call your spouse to bring you gas because you guessed wrong on how much you had in there. But being stuck on the side of the road with the spouse, it's an adventure, but they may not enjoy it quite as much as you do. So try to make your cars a little bit more enjoyable. They put up with a whole lot. But yes, that's the end for the Duster right now. We're going to get some sweet patina on it. We're going to do a couple other things, and I'm looking forward to driving this a lot more. It's a fun car. It was destined to be scrapped, and we fought and cursed and screamed and cut and bled a whole lot. But it's a better place for it now. Also, if you've not noticed, there is a Patreon link down below, as well as YouTube channel memberships. We're working on getting more stuff going on over there right now. Eventually, it will be public, a Discord. But for members and patrons, you can jump in there right now, chat with me. I post pictures and a couple more behind-the-scenes things. So if you want to join, the cool kids club, like these people right here, jump on over. I appreciate all of that support because it lets me do crazy things like put way too much money in a 1971 Duster. Whew. I actually added it up. Don't do it. Don't add how much you put into a car up ever. It hurt a little. But that's it. I'm Jared, reminding you guys to always make questionable choices, and I already said it. Don't ever total the receipts of your project car. Just enjoy it and turn a blind eye to the cost. We'll see you next time.